The following video is brought to you by Worthless, the young person's indispensable guide to choosing the right major by Aaron Clary, The Postmodern Adventures of Kill Team 1 book series by Mike Leone, The Adventures of Morgalla by John David. All of our wonderful fans on Patreon, and viewers like you, thank you.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Our good friend Pablo Hidalgo recently... Oh. You don't say. I stand corrected. I've just been alerted Pablo Hidalgo is no one's friend. According to the report, if he was an ice cream flavor, he'd be pralines and dick. Thank you, Mr. Algar. So yesterday, I put out a video about the landfill of Star Wars toys known as Toys R Us. It's one of the many videos in which I show the dire situation of Hasbro's former crown jewel. We've given the facts and figures, we've shown the footage, and our fans from around the world have shared it too. We know how bad and embarrassing the merchandise aspect of the Star Wars situation is, yet somehow Pablo Hidalgo has an excuse. I saw this information over on the Jedi Temple Archives. Ethan Van Sciver covered it, so make sure you check out his video after you watch this, because you know it's going to be funny. Over on Twitter, Pob's Blue Ribbon had this to say. A toy exec once told me that kids increasingly see action figures and plastic toys as punishment toys because it's what they have to play with when they lose access to electronic devices. I felt older than granite. I don't know what it feels like to be granite, but I do think your assessment of the situation is flimsier than limestone. Here's a theory. Maybe kids find the toys based off characters that you helped create or ruin to be lame. What little kid wants to play with a bad guy that's not that bad, or a girl in a potato sack? I know technology is a bigger part of life than when I was growing up, but I had video games, I had a computer, and I still like toys. In 1997, I played with Star Wars toys, I played Star Wars games on the PC, and I played Super Return of the Jedi on the Super Nintendo. Technology is a big part, but Hasbro has lowered the quality of the toys so much that they're not worth their overinflated price, and Lucasfilm alienated the fan base who actually supports the product. Here's an interesting tweet from Super Good Pixel that says, I think this just shows how Disney doesn't understand Star Wars anymore. They didn't even know who was buying their toys. They chased those people away with insults, thus the sales tanked. Anyone who ventured into a Target or Walmart saw who was buying this stuff. Chased people away with insults. So true. Last week we dealt with the man-baby accusations, and before that it was racist, before that it was sexist, blah blah blah. These people are running their mouths and simultaneously running Star Wars into the ground. But that's okay, because the people that defend this shit on the internet are supporting the brand, right? I mean, how come all those people coming out in droves to defend Kelly Marie Tran on Twitter and calling her a treasure aren't picking up the mountain of Rose Tico action figures that are available at retail? It's because they're not the target demographic for Star Wars. Star Wars has traditionally been a male-focused brand that stood the test of time. That's not to say women don't like it. Just read this tweet right here from Michelle. That is so sad. If it makes you feel any better, I withheld my vintage Star Wars collection and totally gatekept where my kids were allowed to play with them. Now they respect figures and they have their own collections. Respect figures. That's something that I grew up with. I respected my toys, and that's why, 25 years later, my toys are like brand new. But what I'm saying is trying to force your demographic to buy stuff they don't want because the ideology at Lucasfilm is fucked is just dumb. Remember the white guys that you ritualistically shit out of kept those $220 million in licensing fees flowing? The years when there were no movies still saw a constant and regular flow of Star Wars toys from Hasbro because of them. We've covered all the pejoratives here on this channel, and we've covered the fact that sales were down 21% from Hasbro's acquired brands. Link in the description for that video. But let's talk about another aspect we haven't covered that deeply. The toys are too overpriced for parents to buy their kids, and too underscaled and underdetailed for collectors. Hasbro has attempted to make figures small and cheap for parents to buy them for their kids, but the retail price matched or exceeded the toys that were much bigger and included more accessories. The problem comes from the astronomical licensing fees for Star Wars toys. Hasbro cheaps out to make more money per figure, but they're too small and boring to appeal to the kids because the characters are dumb. The collectors aren't buying them in droves because the quality dipped massively, yet the price isn't that much different. For over a decade, the figures had more detail and more articulation. The line was more focused on classic characters. There were vehicles. The toys are actually hard to find. There was a thrill for those fortunate enough to find the figures out in the wild, and if you couldn't, well, there was always online. And for an example, a modern Star Wars figure runs about $8, and for $10 you could get a Star Wars figure that had much more articulation, accessories, and looked like the character. This went on for years until Hasbro decided to try and milk the collectors for more money by making super articulated figures in the 6-inch scale and costing $20 a piece. It didn't work in the beginning, but now they're the most desired ones. There's just one problem. You can't find them anywhere because of the shit from The Force Awakens that hangs around on shelves. And if The Force Awakens stuff is thinned out, well, you're probably stuck with a glut of Rogue One and The Last Jedi merchandise. Coincidentally, those films have had the influence of Pablo Hidalgo. I'm not making this up either. I have documented proof that this shit has spent years on the shelves taking up space in major retailers, not just discount chains. Which before Disney took over was something that didn't happen. I saw The Force Awakens on Blu-ray for $5 at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. That was a first. Go back and watch the old videos. Go over to the Facebook page and see people from all over the world posting the same thing. Star Wars is a dead brand. Its merchandise does rot in stores. The only people keeping it alive are the ones who have been around for a long time, but Lucasfilm in name only sees fit to push them out for a more modern take on Star Wars. But that's failing miserably. Star Wars was timeless and countless people from every walk of life have enjoyed it. Calling us names doesn't work. There's the old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, there's a new version that reads like this. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but talking shit about me makes me not buy your products. Speak with your wallet, folks. This is yet another failure for Disney's Star Wars. Let's not forget that Solo was a massive flop. Massive. The merchandise is a massive flop, and if you really want to punch them in their ideological ballsack, skip Episode 9 and make it a flop too. So in closing, yes, kids do want electronics and aren't playing with toys as much, but the people that bought the Star Wars toys weren't children like you like to assume. Maybe it's because kids are young and don't notice the lack of detail, hence the cheaper quality, and they can get away with that. But most adults, who have kept it around for decades, do care. Too bad you have to act like the children you assume you cater to and act out in public. You need a bottle, Pablo. So, that's it for today. I just wanted to make this as a follow-up because I think it's another way to deflect from the situation. A situation that they've created for themselves. I know we talk a lot about Star Wars merchandise, but one thing that people fail to realize is that Star Wars and its merchandising go hand in hand. It's the toys. That's the question that people always have on their minds. You know, when do we get to see the next line of toys? The toys, the toys, the toys. Because the toys are the thing that kept Star Wars alive in our minds. As children, we were able to go out with our figures and create new adventures. I don't see how imagination is so dead. I know that a lot of kids do like technology and play video games, but there's a lot of people, a lot of parents out there who don't want to give their kids that stuff because they become overly dependent on a tablet or a phone. And there are other parents who just give their kids their phone to shut them up while they're grocery shopping. I see that. But don't discredit the parents who think that technology has a bad influence on their kids. I'm not going to get on a platform and say one way or the other, but I don't think it hurts for a kid to have a series of action figures and take them out on an adventure. I mean, I had countless adventures with my toys as a kid, and I also played countless hours of video games as a kid. When we had the internet growing up, I spent a lot of time searching stuff about video games and learning about toys and other crap like that. There's just a happy medium for everybody, and I don't think toys need to go away because people still buy toys for kids all the time. Dion has a kid. That kid has 2 toy rooms. Dion has a nephew. That kid has tons of toys. I mean, yeah, they do play with technology, but they also play with toys. I just don't see why people like Pablo Hidalgo want to just take everything out of the... You know what? I do know why. It's because they want to act like they have nothing to do with any of the problems with Star Wars. It's like, oh, it's not us. People just don't buy toys. Oh, it's not us. It's this. It's that. Well, it is you when Hasbro won't be able to pay you $220 million to license the Star Wars brand, and it will be you when the Star Wars toys don't exist anymore. I mean, I get that you need to push out product for your new movie to make money because it's fresh in people's minds, but you don't need to discredit the old characters because those are your money makers. And like I always say on this channel, you never shit where you eat. So thank you for watching this video. If you're a fan of the channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up, and please share us with everyone you know. If you're a super fan and you can afford it, join our Patreon page. $1 a month goes a long way. $5, which is only 17 cents a day, goes even further. So if that's a possibility, make it happen. We give you access to all kinds of great content, like commentaries, our Cobra Kai Roundtable, live discussions here on the channel. You can be part of the Hangouts. You can request to be on a movie thing if you want. If you're a certain level and you want to be on a live hangout where we watch, I don't know, Terms of Endearment, we'll make it happen for you. You just pick the movie and we'll be there for you guys. We like it if you pick a better movie. This week we're doing Batman 89 with our good friend Sills Will, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you want to get involved with stuff like that, you know what to do. But if you can't afford it, that's fine. Not a problem. Just continue to watch the videos, join our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, do all those things. Get involved with the community and have a lot of fun with world-class bullshitters, because that's what we are at the end of the day, a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with more, and I'll be back in a little bit on the High Council. So if you can't wait to hear more from me, you don't have to wait very long. Less than 12 hours. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.